I have a confession to make. I am not a pet guy. I know that's not going to make me very popular on the internet. It's also not going to make me very popular at Guidant, where literally hundreds of our clients own pet-related businesses. And I promise you, it's not that I'm a horrible person who has no heart for living things. I just don't like the mess or the friction it creates around travel. So when my daughter Sydney came to me at 11 years old and said she wanted a cat, my answer was very easy: no. Then she colluded with my wife and came back with a PowerPoint presentation, which I have since learned is my kryptonite. In it, she dismantled each of my objections one by one. And I had fair concerns like, hey, both you and your mom are allergic to cats and swell up when you get around one. That seemed like a pretty meaningful obstacle. But she had researched this specific breed she wanted that was hypoallergenic, a Balinese. Now, Balinese, I learned through this PowerPoint seminar, produce less of the protein in their saliva that triggers cat allergies. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought you were just allergic to cat's fur. And on top of that, she had researched and found a cat food that also lowered the production of this same protein. She had a plan for how we could still travel. She had a plan for who was going to handle the litter box. She had shot down every objection I had raised to either her or her mother. And she almost had me until I asked her what it would cost. $2,000 all in, when she factored in the cost of the breeder and the veterinary care. So I told her we'd think about it, but I was pretty sure I was a no. I just didn't believe she was going to do all the things that she said she would. But the next morning, I realized something when I woke up. If I was concerned about her follow-through, then I had the perfect out, the way to avoid being the bad guy without ending up with a pet. So I talked to my wife, Jill, and then we pulled Sydney into the conversation. We told her she could have the cat if she saved up the $2,000 and paid for it herself. My reasoning was simple. Either, as I suspected, she wasn't going to follow through, in which case no cat, and also, Dad's not the bad guy. Or worst case scenario, she at 11 years old follows suit to earn $2,000 and proves to me that she's ready for some responsibility. She spent the next year detailing cars, walking dogs, feeding neighbors' pets, even acting as a mother's helper for family friends. She also asked for every birthday and Christmas present in cash. Simon the cat is now 2.5 years old and basically runs our house. And here's the thing. I'm still not a pet guy. But I love Simon because of how he's changed my daughter. The same kid who refused to do a presentation in front of her 5th grade class because she was too self-conscious just did a solo to Adele's Someone Like You for a school concert. This girl, who we couldn't get to do any sports or classes growing up, just did a year of dance with kids 3 years younger than her because the school required her to start at level 1. She has become more confident, more resourceful, and more willing to go after what she wants, even when it's hard or uncomfortable. And there wasn't some great speech I gave to her or some book she read. What she'd done was just take real ownership of something she wanted. She connected the small daily actions like dog walking or foregoing presents to the outcome that she was after. And in the process, she proved to herself she can have whatever she wants if she's willing to work for it. And what I've seen in my daughter, I've seen in many of the 35,000 people we've helped become business owners at Guidant. People come to us thinking about the financial upside and the freedom they hope to gain. But when I interview them and listen to their stories, what I hear are stories about ownership has changed who they are and what they believe is possible. They had to figure things out when they had no idea how. They had to persevere through moments when they felt like giving up. They had to take full responsibility for whether or not they would succeed. And once you come out the other side of that experience, I think it changes you in ways that stay with you forever. I know because I've seen it, and not just at work with our clients. Outside the sliders from my office is a small patio, and built into a concrete flower box on the patio is a small pond filled with 4 koi fish. Now, the largest of them, sashimi, has to be at least a foot long. And it was my daughter's idea and her creation. These fish have survived for almost 2 years, despite the fact that we live in Boise, Idaho, where winters are relatively cold. And despite the fact that I have done little to keep them alive other than feed them a couple times when Sydney was on trips for school. And because of who she's come now, this guy who doesn't like pets now has 5 pets. That's the benefit of business ownership I don't hear talked about enough. It's not just what you build, it's who you become in the process. Don't quit your daydream. See you next week. Cheers.